All righty. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Week. I am excited because the person I'm speaking to today, Christine Scheepers, is solving a problem that once upon a time I had. And I know that was your catalyst, I think, with starting your business, because that's exactly kind of where you were and the pain we were both in to make us.
Definitely.
So Christine, guys, is the amazing author of the book Happy Sleepers. Let me show you a bigger picture. It's behind her there on the screen. But this is a little bit of a bigger picture of her baby manual book. She calls it Welcome to the End of Exhaustion. I love that. Results guaranteed within 48 hours. It's exactly what people who are exhausted want to see. So I'll give you guys the official introduction, and then we're going to start into the content and why Christine decided to write the book and how she does what she does, because I think, you know, there's many secrets that you have that new parents would love to know. So Christine is the founder of Happy Sleepers. She is an ICU nurse, midwife, baby sleep specialist, new author, and mum of 10-year-old twins, Emma and Anthony. And they are the reason she started her business. As babies, Christine's kids made her realize how important sleep is and how the lack of it made us a very dysfunctional family. So it became her mission to help other families with their sleep challenges. In 2015, Christine started her Happy Sleepers business, and she has already helped more than 1,500 families. And now she's here to help you. And if you are watching this and you're not a new parent and you know someone in your circle of friends or people who have just had a baby, or even you're saying it's between 0 and 5 years old. Yeah,
so even pregnant moms.
Yeah, please share this with them, because it would have saved my life. I had to go out there, actually, Christine, and buy a book when it was happening.
You could afford my book.
And mine was almost it was 13 years ago. So yeah. Struggling. So good morning, and thank you for giving me the time today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, let's start with obviously you had the business from 2015. And now 20, so it's been 7 years. What made you decide to then formulate and put everything you know in a book? I mean, after I think you started the book about 5-6 years in.
Yes. So I always knew that a book will be a good addition to my business. You know, when you're in business, a book is always a good credibility. If you say, oh, I'm a business owner, but I'm also an author, it just gives you more credit that you actually know what you're talking about, and that you're not just someone randomly who wants to, you know, sleep train babies. But as you know, it's just one of my things. English is not my first language, and I always believe that I can't write a book. You know, my English is not that great, and my tenses is not always that, you know, correct. So that really kept me back, you know, writing a book. And you know, so many people always said to me, why don't you just write a book? And I just said, I can't, you know, it's not, I'm not a writer. I'm not good with words and things like that. But then, you know, COVID hit and I was really busy in COVID time, but I don't know, this idea of writing a book just, you know, grew in my mind. And my husband said to me, look, you've got all this content, you know, just put, you don't need to write anything because you already have everything. And I have a DIY package where everything it's on videos, you know, you've got everything. So, and I thought, okay, I guess it can't be that difficult. And that's what I did. I didn't actually write, I just put all my content together, and it was actually easier than I thought.
So you organized this, you already were doing videos and resources, and you had sheets you were giving people or whatever they had to do.
Yeah.
It's about organizing it and putting it in a neat format that makes it a book. And you're so right. I think having a book, I mean, when you're in that place of just having had a new baby and you're desperate, you're looking to the experts, it's not someone who just says, I can help you. Like, what's your background? What have you got to show for it? And very much in your field, your book is that business card on steroids or that expert positioning formula. So I'm so happy you did it. And it's a beautiful cover. I absolutely love it.
Thank you.
So let's have a little bit of a conversation about, why babies don't sleep, and, share a little bit of the common things that you find with parents. I'm sure people can find some, read all the detail in the book, but let's cover off the why and the what and a little bit of the how.
Yeah. Look, being a mother and having a baby is, I think, harder than people think it is. Initially when they fall pregnant, that was me. I fell pregnant with twins. I'm a nurse, and I thought, how difficult can it be? It's in us. It's we are mothers. How difficult can it be? And to be honest, I didn't read one book, and I didn't do any research because it's fine. Oh my word. And it was so hard when my twins were born, and it was 4 months and I was beyond repair, and took them to sleep school. And that's when I realized how many things I did wrong. You want to say wrong, because babies are not born with a manual. Every mom just wing it as they think is best, and they do read a lot of books on mums, but every book has different content, so it can be quite confusing, the information. Some say to cry it out, some say, oh no, you're going to break the bond with your baby. It's very confusing. And I thought, when I did my sleep training with my babies, I realized that there's, little things that you can do, and it will make a huge difference. Okay. And that's what this book is about. It will give you little information just to make short changes that will give you that confidence to go further. Okay, so to give you an example, to make the room dark during the day, to get your babies to nap a little bit longer, just to make that one change will make a huge difference in your baby's naps. Okay, when your baby wakes up overnight and he cries, just wait 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, just back off a little bit and just see if he can't do it himself. Okay, to do that repeatedly will, at the end of the day, teach your baby how to self-settle. Okay, so it's little things like that you can do to help your baby to learn how to self-settle, because that's ultimately what you want to do. You want to teach your baby how to fall asleep independently, and you want to teach your baby how to stay asleep independently. But then at the end of the day, there's only one reason why the babies don't sleep. From the 1,500 babies that I've had, there's one reason why all of them don't sleep, and that is sleep associations. Okay, your baby needs something in order to help him to go to sleep. He needs you to rock him to sleep. He needs you to pat him to sleep. He needs you to feed him to sleep. So he needs something externally to help him to go to sleep. So what you want to do is you want to remove all the help, and you want to teach him how to do it independently. It's like teaching a child how to bike ride. You need to remove all the support, and you need to internalize that skill. You want to teach a baby how to swim, you need to remove all the support, and you need to internalize that skill. And sleep is exactly the same. So if you pat or rock or somehow help your baby how to sleep, that's what you need to change. And that's the big one. That's the difficult one. You can make all these little changes which will definitely improve your baby's sleep, but that will not help your baby to sleep through the night.
Yeah, it's such a great way to explain it, and such a great metaphor for people to go, oh, okay, that's what I could have been doing, so yeah, you're
Yeah.
I agree with you. So how did it all then, so you had your twins 10 years ago and you went to sleep school because you're absolutely right. You think it's a maternal instinct, but when you read a few books, you kind of get those tips and know-hows that where people have made the mistakes and figure out what works best, which is what you've been doing now for the last 10 years is like, you've figured out now the shortcuts. And if you give that person the shortcuts through your book or through what you do, then that person is going to, as you say, often have results in 48 hours or less. And isn't that such a tiny amount of time when we I know 4 months I was sleep deprived. I think you were the same.
Yeah, 4 months, went to sleep school, but then I actually sleep trained them at 5 months. Yeah.
Amazing. So so how do people like work with you, because you've got the book? Is there like how is your business set up?
So on my website, I have an option to fill in a form for a free 15-minute consultation, or you can just call me. My number is on my website, where we just have a conversation. I listen to what you are doing at the moment, and I'm actually listening to what sleep associations you are using. That's all I'm actually interested in, to hear what you are doing to help your baby to sleep. Okay. And then I'll just explain to the mom, look, this is what I can do. Usually I say, which is the not the selling point, but what really helps them to make that decision is when I work with them, I can almost guarantee that within less than a week, you will be able to put your baby down in their cot. 10 minutes, your baby will be asleep. And I can almost guarantee that your baby will, sleep through the night with one feed or none within less than a week. Okay. So if I heard that 10 years ago, I would be sold.
Yeah.
And it's not just something that I say, I can almost guarantee that if you just follow my recommendations, and honestly, it's not that difficult, I can guarantee that. Okay. And so we have that conversation. If you want to continue, so I do have a DIY package on my website, which has all the content. You can fully, successfully sleep train your baby on that package. The only difference is I'm not involved at all. You can't call me or text me for support, but if you feel confident enough, especially if it's your second or your third baby, you don't necessarily need my support. So that one is there. And then I have the one-on-one packages where I do a customized plan. We do a questionnaire, and then I do a customized plan for your baby. Then you go in that plan is all the training videos. I train you up about awake times, teething, how to put your baby down, correctly, what to do at bedtime. It's just a lot of training. Then once you've done all the training, then they will have questions, they write it down, and then we will have a Zoom appointment where I answer the mom's questions. Okay, it's usually like a 30-minute Zoom. Just to make sure the mom is on board and she understands everything correctly. Then once we've done that Zoom and she's happy, then on the night when she starts a program, then she can text me. So usually the moms are pretty prepared, but if she feels a little bit overwhelmed or, a little bit, not sure what she needs to do, then she can text me. Okay. And then I'm available until the baby falls asleep. Once the baby is asleep, the rest of the night she is on her own, but she will know exactly what she needs to do because I'm going to train her up properly. Okay. And then once we've done the first night, then we're in communication every single day for 14 days. So how that looks like, we have a daily Zoom where all the mums comes together. It's not a lot. There's usually maximum 10 mums on the Zoom, but I coach the mum one-on-one. So I'll say, okay, Natasha, how did your baby go last night? Let's make these changes. So it's not like it's general. I still coach you one-on-one. Yeah, but all the mums can hear and they learn from your experience and the other way around as well. And the mums really love that. And then they also have text message support. But I know there's a lot of mums who they are working, so they can't always join the Zoom. So I do record it and it gets emailed to them daily, to everyone who's active. But there's a lot of mums who can't even do that. So I do call them on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's a lot of support. I know. I just bought a book when I was desperate. And as you say, if someone's fairly disciplined to follow, they could read your book and they can extract what they need to do. That's what I did. Like the book that I read, I extracted their recipe, if you know what I mean. I even typed it out in terms of what the routine was going to be and all this sort of stuff, and had my clock and the timer, and I was ready. And you're right, if you follow what you get told, what makes people, what derails them? You know, what do you think, you know, when you work with them, what are common things that derail them?
The crying.
I can guess that's what it is, because I wanted you to tell me, because I had also had a lot of mums ask me how did I do what I did, because I was very successful, because I was very stubborn to just stick to the recipe, because I knew it would only be a pain of 48 hours, and it literally was. And then they, you know, I borrowed out this particular book that I had, and a lot, I would say 9 out of 10 of them didn't follow through. So when you say the crying, let's talk a little bit about that, because there's that approach of not letting them cry, or people, and then there's the approach of, you know, a little bit of, you know. So what's your take on that? Yeah,
look, every single mum I talk to, they say, you don't do the cry it out method, right? And I always say, no, I don't, because the cry it out method means that you don't prepare your baby mentally. You know, you don't set him up for success. Okay, you just dump him in the cot, you walk out, not to return. Okay, there's no preparation. Okay, that's cry it out. Okay, where what I do is the camp out method, where you sit right next to your baby until he falls asleep. Okay, you can talk to him, you can touch him. If your baby is able to stand up, you can lay him down. So you're there as a support. Okay, but just because you're sitting right next to your baby, that's not what he wants. Okay, he wants you to rock him, pat him, feed him. Okay, but you're going to, and that's where I help you to, and all mums really know that, is how to put your baby down perfect. Okay, he's fully fed. If he's teething, you would give him some pain relief. His nappy is dry, so there's really nothing wrong. Okay, he's crying because he's angry. Okay, because you don't do what he wants you to do. Okay, and we all get angry, right? My kids can scream for half an hour because they don't get a lolly. Okay, but that's not going to hurt them. Okay, so as long as you sit right next to your baby, you make sure your baby is perfectly fine. When you do the sleep training, guarantee there will be crying. It's impossible to teach a baby long-term skills without crying. Yeah, it's like anything. If I want to lose weight, it's hard. Okay, it's hard to change those habits. Okay, I don't scream and cry, but my baby doesn't understand that I'm trying to teach him a long-term, a life-changing skill. Okay, so they resist that change. Okay, so I just want to say to the parents that yes, the first night is going to be hard. Okay, it's not. I can't take that away. Okay, if I could, I would have, but I can't. Okay, but as long as you're sitting there and you can see, that's what helped me. If you sit there and you can see your baby is okay, but you know that your baby is going to sleep through the night in less than a week, you know, is it worth it? You know, it's that short-term pain for long-term gain. And honestly, this is also something that we see on a daily basis. Say, for example, and I know this is long, your baby cries for an hour the first night. Okay, that's a long time. Okay, but the next night, guarantee it's half the time, half an hour. Okay, the next night is half that time, 15 minutes. Okay, so if you know that, look, this is not a long-term thing, it's only going to be for 3 days and it will literally be 15 minutes. I don't know, I feel it was worth it, and I did it, and my kids slept through the night in less than a week.
Yeah, same. I found the very first night was really hard. Like, I felt so sleep deprived and we were both exhausted, the baby and I. But the second night, there was only one wake up. Like mine was like so fast, like you just from completely horrible, situation to one bad night, and then as you say about the day sleeps got fixed up within the fortnight, like where they were, they come, I think, after the night ones.
Yeah, you have to fix the nights first, and that will have a direct effect on the days.
Yeah, and then this, I believe, what you teach parents is then the skills when they do have subsequent. I know sometimes they might not have trouble with baby one, and then they have. Do you find it's mostly first time parents, and then a lower percentage of subsequent, or is it a mix?
Look, I do have a lot of first-time moms, but I also have a lot of moms who has the second baby, because when you have the first baby, you have more energy. It's the first time you do everything, and you actually have time to wait. Okay, you can. With the second baby, the problem is, like what I said, was what's really the backbone of my program is you have to wait that 10 minutes before you go in, because that genuinely in combination with removal of the sleep associations, that teaches your baby how to self-settle, and that's ultimately what you want to do. Okay, but when you have a second child, when that second child starts crying, the mums just run, as quickly as possible, because they're always scared. And that's what happened with me as well with twins. You're always scared that the one baby or the baby is going to wake up the other child. Okay. And it just backfires completely. So I would say I actually have more mums where they've already have a child than first-time parents.
That's interesting to know. Yeah. Makes sense. Now that you explained it, I know, and is something I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, and what I read in the book that I read, but 0 to 4 months that you can't really do sleep training because they're just too little, and that it was recommended to start at about the 16-week mark after the baby.
Yeah, I don't know. People have this conception or perception that you can't sleep train newborns. To be honest, in COVID, in that 2 years, I've had more newborns than other ages. I think in that last year, I sleep trained something like 70 newborns.
Okay.
So with newborn, you can sleep train them, but I think the thing is, you think that when you sleep train a baby, they have to sleep through the night, which is not true. Okay, I'm not going to remove the overnight feed. Okay, but what you want is, you want a block of sleep, a quick feed, a block of sleep, and a quick feed. Okay, you don't want this constant wake ups in between the feeds. Okay, so what I'm teaching with newborns is that we want those blocks of sleep in between the feeds. And when you teach the babies, the newborns, how to self-settle, what happens is, when it's time for them to feed, or when they used to feed, but they're not really hungry because the feed became a comfort feed, it's not really a hunger thing, they just resettle and go back to sleep. So most of my newborns, they start skipping their feeds themselves, and they only have one feed or none overnight. But we don't really sleep train newborns. We just teach them proper sleep skills. We give them proper sleep skills, how to fall asleep independently and stay asleep independently. And we're not newborns, we can pick them up. It makes you feel better when you can pick a newborn up. When they're older, we don't. And we don't wait 10 minutes. We just wait 5 minutes. So it's a lot more gentle. Yes. But the youngest baby I've sleep trained was 2 weeks old. Wow. Major success. Otherwise, I work with pregnant moms. So we do have the consultation before the baby is born. So you have that knowledge. Okay. And then you just do the right thing from day dot. And you never, ever have to sleep train that baby, because they are good sleepers from the start.
Well, I know my third baby didn't need any sleep training. My second one did. I started the 4-month mark, although I wasn't that desperate with her. But with my third baby, it was just, maybe it was because I already had the skills and I was just doing it subconsciously. I was like, oh, this baby's so easy. Just leave her and walk out, you know?
Yeah. So, when you're used to the little bit of crying, it's when with the first baby, you're really sensitive about the crying. I think as you mature, the crying doesn't upset you so much. So you unintentionally wait a little bit longer because you're busy with the other toddler. That baby can just wait a little bit and then they automatically learn how to self-settle.
I love that. If I can recommend that you invest time to learn or read or do something pre-training prior to giving birth, is exactly this. Like get this book or get someone to show you. I would rather, now I read a little bit of books, not a ton, but I did read, you know, the pregnancy of all the different weeks and what happens. And we went to those classes that you go with your husband. Yeah, like I would say all of that. Yeah, okay. Like it was, you know, kind of interesting information because it was all new happening. But in terms of what will keep you sane and give you energy to do what you need to do is the sleeping portion. So I would say do study and pre-learning in that. So let's talk a little bit about how is the process in writing your book, and then we're going to tell these guys where they can go access it or buy it as a present for someone who's about to have a baby. How did you find it? Like, you know, just going through, you said, you know, you didn't have to write out everything because it was all there. So talk us through that.
Look, initially I had the content, but I didn't know how to put it, you know, lay it out in my book. And I think this is where you and Stuart really helped me, you know, to have a plan, you know, how to lay it out. And I think that really made a huge difference in my book because now it makes it easier to read. Because initially I thought, I'll just do it the way I do it with my program, but that didn't work. It just didn't work. So you helped me to lay it out. And then I just used like Otter, you know, I actually cheated. I took my videos and I just had the Otter in front. I didn't say one word in real life. So I just used my videos and I ottered that. And it actually went really fast. Writing my book, unfortunately with me, it took a little bit longer to get my book out because of COVID. I had to, you know, homeschool my kids, and you know there was a lot of personal things that kept me from that. But the actual writing the book, I actually quite enjoy that to you know, everything. I just brain dumped everything, and you know, and everything, it just happened. And yeah, it was really nice.
Jotted stuff. Otter is an app that you use to transcribe. So those of you that are watching this or listening to this, you know, it's a free app, and we often encourage our authors either to speak out, or she transcribed videos and training she did. She out the process. So that's wonderful, you know, and yeah, you know, everyone got super busy, you know, everything was happening inside the household. So we had to juggle homeschooling and all of those kind of things. But it's here. The book is here, guys. I encourage you to go check it out or buy it for somebody that may need it soon. Ahead of time, better than afterwards, because they'll have a bit more time to read it. There it is. Happy Sleepers. Welcome to the End of Exhaustion. And I can guarantee you guys that, you know, it does. If you follow the recipe of books such as this, you know, you will get the results. And I'll show you then where you go to get it. And that's Christine's website, happysleepers.com. And she says put / book to get to the book, but as you can see, it's plastered there all over the website, and she's got her packages here, and you know what she talked us through in terms of how she helps people and all her testimonials and all that sort of stuff. So easy to remember, happysleepers.com, and then anywhere also, all your good online reseller stores like your Amazons, your Barnes and Noble, Booktopia. You know, if you just Google it, it'll come up. So yeah, do yourself a favor, do someone you love, or know, like, you know, it's going to be I wish someone bought me that book instead of all the pregnancy ones.
Yeah, it's I the moms say when they're struggling with the sleep, and that's how I felt. It's almost like when you go to the step of sleep training, it's almost like that final step that I felt like a failure. I failed as a mum because I couldn't get my babies to sleep, and it's such a, you know, a basic thing where if you buy a book, it's just a book. Okay, you don't feel like, oh, I can't do this. I'm just going to read some information. And just by doing that is already the first step.
Yeah.
You know, helping your baby, that doesn't mean sleep training. Okay, that just means, oh, let me just accumulate a little bit more information to help my baby. Yeah.
Put it that way, reframe it for yourself, because it's so true, you know.
Yes.
And big fan of everything you do. And I'll be, you know, if I know people that are having babies, I'll be sending them your way, because I just really think you're doing amazing work and helping more people not walk around like zombies.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate your time, Christine. Good luck with the future, the business, the book. You know, I know it's fresh or hot off the press recently.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to keep seeing you, you know, help and impact lives now globally of mums everywhere. So thank you and have a great week, everybody. And as always, smash it out. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.